I initially want to talk about Boondocks with the most in-depth thoughts and the most articulate looking video ever, talking about the rise and fall of Boondocks, how it came to be and why we ended up with a horrible season that is season 4.
Nigga, you just hating, feel me? That's why you ain't never gonna have no paper, ain't never gonna have no bitches, feel me?
Wait, watch your mouth.
But this show's been out for how long now? Nearly 10 years? What's been said has already been said about Boondocks, and at this point, we all know the story of Boondocks and what it is. And if you don't know what it is, then I suggest you watch it, especially because we got those remakes coming up, which is next year, which I believe will be big whether it's good or bad. So today I'm gonna keep it a little bit more simple. Today I want to talk about why I thought it was good and what made it great. In short, I want to tell you why I love Boondocks. Almost like my Insecure video, this is just me giving my flowers to the creators over at Boondocks, hopefully pushing you guys to go check it out if you haven't already. Spending the next 10 minutes talking about the stuff I like. Pretty rare for a YouTuber, right? The Boondocks to me truly is an amazing show, which is saying something because when it comes to comedies, I don't really enjoy a lot of them. But I believe the way Aaron McGruder writes the show is interesting. Matter of fact, I actually believe he changes the approach to the writing when it comes to all 3 of the seasons. From memory, I remember season 3 being my favorite season, but after rewatching it recently, I think I like season 3 because it was in 1080p. It had a crispy look to it, so I guess I preferred it. Silly, I know, but that's not to say season 3 is bad now, but I just think Aaron's writing in season 1 really might be the peak of the Boondocks.
You got a problem with that, nigga?
The best comedy for me personally don't prioritize the comedy first. They have a story, message and characters at the foremost, and then the comedy comes after, so even if the comedy doesn't always hit, the viewer is still very much entertained. And season 1 in my opinion is Boondocks' best season, mainly because I think Aaron feels like he's making a statement in season 1. Season 2 and 3 feel like they're written to entertain more, still having some real good moments though. Season 2 really still is good. Some people actually prefer season 2 over season 1 and I honestly think that's understandable. They really have some great moments in there. But season 1 for me really has a lot. R. Kelly episode, Stink Wiener 1, A Pimp Named Slipback, Gangstalicious, Martin Luther King. These are the episodes that really comes to people's mind when they first think of the Boondocks, mainly because they've aged so well. Life can often imitate art, which makes the art truly seem genius.
I'm voting for Obama because he's gonna lower my taxes.
Actually, he has promised to raise taxes at your income level.
Huh?
Outside of that though, season 1 has some really beautiful character moments. It spends a lot of time showing off the relationship between the characters. The characters to me just seem real. The relationship seems real, and I really think that's where the show shines.
Huey,
Yeah?
I don't like losing.
Well then, stop beating yourself.
Huey,
Yeah.
you still a bitch.
My favorite episode is where it has these heartfelt moments between the characters. Season 2 has a great episode where Granddad goes on vacation and ends up missing the boys. That episode for me is one of the standouts. Now we can talk about how the show addresses black culture. It's safe to say this show was made by black people for black people. That's not to say that people outside can't enjoy themselves when it comes to some of these episodes. Sometimes it feels like they're trying to educate people who may be outside the Freeman world and its relatable topics. We've seen other creators do this and completely fail. It almost comes off as a mockery, done poorly, ending up entertaining an audience that isn't even really intended for. Or is it? Aaron once said is that I think we as black people spend too much time worrying about what white people think of us. I don't give a about what white people think. I believe his mind even thinks even more deeper than that. I think he's very careful about what he writes and how black people are represented. He's aware on what influence he may have. So I guess here we can talk about my favorite episode. Season 1, episode 12. This is an episode more towards the end of season 1. I'm kind of glad it is at the end of season 1 because I don't feel like it would have hit the same if it came earlier within the season. It even hit harder in my most recent rewatch because you feel like you know the characters a little better. The episode is called Riley Was Here. The episode is about Riley pretty much getting an art teacher, or being forced to get an art teacher because he's doing graffiti on people's houses. I'm honestly surprised that Granddad actually hasn't killed this boy yet. Obviously at first Riley isn't looking forward to it, but to cut a long story short, the teacher actually ends up seeing something in him. To be honest, throughout the entirety of the show, this might be one of the few characters that actually took the time to understand Riley's mindset, fully bring something out of Riley too. And if you didn't know Riley's mindset and motivations before this episode, then this episode definitely helps. The teacher encourages Riley to practice more within his art, and Riley ends up getting better at it. Issue is, Riley being Riley wants recognition for his art mainly because the neighborhood really likes the art. They can't believe that Riley was the one who really did it.
I painted this!
You painted this? Yeah, right.
So Riley decides to own his final project, something that will blow everyone away while getting the recognition he deserves. Something that Granddad will enjoy too, but as they're doing it, they get caught by the police and for a minute, there's a whole scene of them running away from the police. All while that is happening, Granddad sees the beautiful art that Riley made. All while that's happening, there's some really cool music while the teacher's being chased by the police. That right there is one of my favorite Boondocks episodes. Just a beautiful moment between the characters. I didn't really even speak on Huey this episode. Even Huey had his own adventure in the episode too. This episode really represents what Boondocks really is. If someone told me they didn't have much interest in watching the Boondocks, then I'd probably recommend this episode just to see if it's for them. If you can't enjoy this episode, then it probably won't be for you, but I genuinely think this episode is actually beautiful. Boondocks is one of the biggest reasons why I believe in original characters instead of white characters turning black. I'd rather have a Riley and Huey Freeman than a black Bart and Lisa. and that's why I really love The Boondocks. I just want to give this show its flowers. I'm watching a few animes, but they won't be done for now, so I want to give you guys this video. And I'm hoping when the next season comes out next year, then I can really write home about it and really do a deep dive on it. I love to see how much Aaron McGruder has really grown as a writer in these past few years. Appreciate you for subscribing. I'll see you next week.